President Trump has apparently fired his Attorney General Pam Bondi, according to a senior administration official and a source familiar with the matter. This comes after NBC News learned that the president has grown frustrated with his Attorney General in recent days, according to multiple sources. I want to get right to our team covering all of it. Our Chief Justice and National Affairs correspondent Kelly O'Donnell is joining us. We've also got our White House correspondent Monica Alba as well. Kelly, let me start with you. This is not altogether surprising, considering the reporting from NBC that the president was frustrated with Bondi's performance leading the Department of Justice.
And we've often seen the president let some of his intentions, feelings, concerns bubble out publicly as one measure of how he makes these decisions. For Pam Bondi, this is a blow because she has been a very loyal sort of friend and ally of the president for a long time, going back to Florida, assisting in the first Trump term. And this, in many ways, comes down to a representation of the frustration that President Trump has, that his vision for how he could exact retribution against political rivals and those who had, in his perception, done him wrong at some past point, to be brought to justice. That has not happened, even though this Department of Justice under Pam Bondi has attempted to do so in a number of areas where we've seen the failed attempts to prosecute James Comey or Letitia James. Then there's the broader issue of the Epstein files. There was a moment where Pam Bondi, who in the journey of her time as Attorney General has been both loyal but has also committed some self-inflicted errors. She talked about having the so-called Epstein list on her desk, and that never materialized. She had led people to believe there would be more coming on Epstein. And then initially last summer, the Department of Justice said the files would be closed. There was no action to be taken. And that triggered a groundswell that was a broader political coalition than you might expect. Certainly those in the MAGA community and then those who were very supportive of the survivor community around Epstein. Hallie, you've talked to a number of those survivors, and there was a political engine that developed around them, bringing it to a point where Congress required the Department of Justice to produce those files. They have done so, but only in a limited way. It has not been the full set of files. So Pam Bondi has not been able to insulate the president from some of the criticism related to the Epstein ordeal. She has not been able to deliver on some of his desired prosecutions, and that frustration has apparently bubbled up. All the ways in which she has been loyal were certainly put in a back seat, and she was in the seat with him yesterday, going in the beast, as it's known, the presidential limousine, to the Supreme Court to listen to one of the key ideas of his time in office, which is birthright citizenship that he wants to challenge. Apparently, she was unable to save herself in those personal, direct moments with the president. She attended his speech last night in the White House. So personal relationships only go so far. Loyalty is sometimes only one way when we observe Donald Trump. And Pam Bondi, Attorney General of the United States, is out. Hallie?
As we're looking at some of these images, Kelly, that video of the apparently now former Attorney General being seen with President Trump as he visited the Supreme Court yesterday. Let me bring in Monica Alba now. So the question is, who takes her place? This is an incredibly prominent cabinet position. It's critically important to the functioning of the Trump administration. It is a department that the president has a personal interest in and has taken an interest in. We know that the Deputy Attorney General, Todd Blanche, has been somebody who has been vocal, who has been prominent on the airwaves. There's also some reporting that we have from sources that former Republican Congressman Lee Zeldin may also be in the mix.
Yeah, and of course, he is already in the cabinet, Lee Zeldin, Hallie, that you referenced there as the EPA administrator. So he is somebody who could be potentially tapped for that. But it does appear now that the president spoke by phone with another outlet and seemed to confirm that Todd Blanche, the Deputy Attorney General, would now take the place of interim Attorney General, at least at this moment, while they do figure out this transition and before they do make any potential announcements. It is typical for the president of the United States to be the one that usually shares some of this information on Truth Social or in some kind of an appearance or announcement, but he has yet to do that. But as Kelly just pointed out, Pam Bondi has been a ubiquitous figure in this White House. She has attended many of the events. She has traveled with the president quite frequently. She's been at his side more than, of course, any other attorney general in recent memory. When you think about the sort of separation between the head of the Department of Justice and a White House, House and that wall that goes between the two, that is something that was essentially erased in this administration. And the president had Pam Bondi at his side all of the time. And there was a message posted some months ago in which he seemed to and appeared to post what was meant to be a private message that started with the word Pam : and had a directive about actions that he wanted to see her take on when it came to potential indictments for people that he wanted to see happen in a faster way with more of an urgency to it, directing her essentially to really treat that as a top priority. So we know that that frustration had been bubbling since then, and the White House hadn't confirmed that that was something that the president meant to make public, but he did, and we later were able to confirm and report that that was exactly the case. And the president hasn't been shy about that. He has said publicly that he would like to see more cases go forward, and he has expressed that mounting frustration when he feels that that hasn't happened in certain particular